I saw that. All right. So does anybody have any questions? Everybody saw the video from yesterday, correct? Yeah. Anybody have any questions about the video? And you guys had a homework assignment about in the video what you saw and how you can go, what you learned from the video and how you can make your house safe, a little bit more fire safe. Does anybody have anything that they want to share, what they found?
Damien says, which one?
So it should have been the PowerPoint presentation, the fire safety one that I did for you guys. It's about 21 minutes long. It's the first video that you guys seen on fire safety. Talks about the size up, fire safety size up, how to use a fire extinguisher. Anybody take any information from that and kind of go over their house, make sure that everything was fire safe. Talked about the LIES program, or the LIES acronym for limiting the amount of stuff that you would, like hazardous materials that you find underneath your kitchen sink or the bathroom sink or up in the garage, the basement, just in case some of that stuff gets out of its container and makes a spill. You want to keep that stuff away. What else did we talk about? Or what else did I talk about? Anybody have any questions about the 9-step size up that they want answered? Gathering the facts. Which one was the hardest one that I said in the video? Which one's the hardest one to do out of that 9 steps? You guys didn't think you'd get quizzed on it, did you?
Randy says, you can see it. Okay.
Yep, it's just popped up. Yep, about overloading your electrical outlets. Yeah, it's called the electrical octopus, I think, in the video. So that's obviously a very, it could be a potentially hazardous thing. Talked about running the cords underneath carpeting. I don't know if that glare is bothering you guys, but it's really bothering me. Maybe a little bit better. Sorry, like I said it before, I'm in my mobile office. I didn't get a chance to make it home. But I am stopped. I'm parked on the side of the road.
That's good.
Yeah. And the air conditioner is blasting. So.
Yeah, I hear it's really hot out there.
Yeah. So anything else from the video, you guys? Again, I'm on my phone, so I don't have the access of looking at the text messages as I bring them up.
That's all we have is check out outlets for overcrowding and move our fire extinguisher to a more accessible area.
Okay. Perfect. All right. So unless there's anybody else have anything from yesterday?
Damien says we have 2 carpets in our house and we don't have any cords under them.
Good. Excellent. Yeah, it's like the video says, that can be very, very hazardous. As you walk over the carpeting, the back of the carpeting is really, really rough, and it'll start to wear away at the coating on the wires. And eventually, it'll make those wires bare, and you can step on and get electrocuted, or they can spark and cause a fire. So, good. All right. Any other questions? If not, we'll move on to the ERG book, which I happen to have a copy right here. You can see this is actually from the Oregon Fire Department. I took it out of brush 9. Of course, I have permission to do that. Our brush 9 doesn't go anywhere anyway. So, but we'll go over this, and then Paul has put up links on the Ready website. So after we get done talking, you guys can go out there. I'm going to kind of give you guys an overview of the book. And then after we get done talking about it, there is a worksheet that you guys can do. It's only like 4 questions, but it's kind of getting you guys familiarized with how to use the ERG book. Emergency Response Guidebook is what ERG stands for. The video that's on there is 21 minutes long. It's very in-depth about the book. So I'm not, if you want to watch it, have at it. It's going to give you a lot more of a description of it than I am, because as you can see, it's color coded. Each one of those things represent a different thing. I don't know if you can see that or not. But I'll explain kind of what they are, and then if you want it more in depth, you can definitely go to that video and watch it. It was put on by the people that actually created the book. So DOT was a part of it. the transportation department. So, all right. So the way that this works, has anybody ever seen like numbers on vehicles? When I say vehicles, typically semis, but it could be on smaller trucks as well. Usually has like a 4-digit number on there, or it could have like, you've seen the skull and crossbones. What that is doing is that is alerting you. Actually, a carpet cleaning truck just drove past, and they have one on there. So basically, what it's doing is alerting you that there is some sort of that vehicle carries a amount of chemicals on the truck. So if that truck were to get into an accident, we'd be able to identify the material that possibly could be coming out of the truck. Now, it's when the vehicle gets in an accident, it doesn't automatically mean that it's a hazard. You can't go around it or near it. It just says that there's chemicals on there. It might be empty that day, or if you see nothing coming from the truck, the containers didn't break open, so there's really no hazard. As long it's once they get out of the container, it's when it's a hazard. And not all of it is a liquid. A lot of it, like propane, stuff like that, it's liquid, but it gets pressurized, so it turns it into a gas. Liquid carbonics, things like that is also considered very hazardous. But so if it's like smoking or steam coming out of it, and when I say steam, I mean that some of these things boil at extremely low temperatures, not high temperatures, but low temperatures. And that's because the product itself can be like negative 300 degrees. So it's extremely cold, and as it warms up, it boils. Okay. So if you wanted to, we can, or what you would do is you would get that guide number on the side of the truck. And let's just say that, I'm just going to pick one out. Let's look up 3065. Looks like a good number. So if I had this guidebook, the way it works, and I see 3065 on a truck in front of me, what I can do is I can go to the blue portion of the book. Can you guys see the different colors, or is it just whited out? It's kind of whited out for me.
It's really light colored.
There. So there might be a little bit better. So you can see the yellow, the blue, the orange, and the green. So if I have the product name, I'm going to go to the blue colored. And if I know the product number and I don't know what the name is, I go to the yellow. So let me go to the yellow, and this is me sharing my desktop with you. So here, let me go so I'm going to look up. You can see how it is in here. They're all numbered. And I'm going to look up 3065. So here's 14s. So I'm going to go 3065. And again, it's just so 3064, 30. Strangely enough, can you guys see what 3065 is?
No.
What are you guys looking at?
You can't.
Well,
it's blurry.
Oh, okay. Let me back it up a little bit. Is that a little bit better?
No, it's too hard to read.
Okay. Well, so going on my guidebook, 3065 is alcoholic beverages. So if the truck ahead of me has alcoholic beverages, that means it doesn't have like 1 or 2 drinks in it. It probably has cases upon cases upon cases of alcoholic beverages. So the way that this works is I looked up the ID number. I found out it was alcoholic beverages, and then what it gives me is the guide number. The guide number is 127. Now the guide number for this, I would have to go to the orange section, and that's where all the guide numbers are located. So I flipped right to it. So this is guide number 127. And the guide then tells me that if this material were to get out of its case, then this is what I have to do to protect myself and protect the community. Okay. So the first thing on here is fire or explosion, which makes sense. Alcoholic beverages has alcohol in it, which makes it very explosive or flammable. So that's the top thing that we have to worry about. And it actually says highly flammable. And it tells you health. If you inhale the chemicals or the alcohol, it can cause problems that way. And it tells you what type of protective clothing you should wear. And this down here, this is obviously for firefighters because it says wear your SCBA, your self-contained breathing apparatus, so that you're not breathing those chemicals in when you get close to them. And then it tells you for a large spill or a small spill, how far you should evacuate people away from the area. And then also, if there is a fire, it basically tells you how to put the fire out. Like I said before, in the beginning of the video that you guys seen about different fires. It tells you how to put that out. This is an alcohol fire, so what class of fire is that? Does anybody remember? A, B, C, D, or K? So you guys thinking?
Go ahead and put it in the chat box. Go ahead and guess.
And then down here on the bottom, it says that it is what you would do for first aid. So if someone was found in this area, what you can do for first aid to help this person. So do you think you guys would be rendering first aid for this person? Probably not, huh? And the reason is because, like I said in the video, you guys saw that big stop sign. If there's any type of hazardous material coming from something, or a material that you don't know, if you can find out what it is, great, look it up. Class B, yes, she got it. This would be a Class B fire, okay? So, and again, this is a stop sign. Any type of stuff that you have in hazardous material would be a stop sign, because like it says in here, for firefighters, we have to wear our self-contained breathing apparatus to go near it, so we're not breathing in the fumes or the vapors that's given off by the alcohol. You guys obviously don't have that, and the best thing for you guys to do would be what? Keep people away, right? So
Call 911.
Call 911. Yes, yes, in an emergency, and I'm sure that people have. Going back to the green, so we kind of covered the yellow. The yellow is where you go if you have the guide number. The blue is where you go if you have. So if I went the other way and I looked up alcoholic beverages in the blue, it's going to say the exact same thing. It's going to tell me that the guide number is this, and it's going to tell me that the ID number is that. Okay, so it goes both ways, whether you have the ID number first, or if you have the ID number and not sure what the chemical is, or if you know what the chemical is and you're not sure the guide number. Okay, so that's why it's the green and the yellow, so you can go back and forth and figure out which one it is. And then, like I said, the guide number will tell you basically, it's the orange section, and it tells you exactly what you can do in the event of an emergency. If you go all the way back to the green is how far away you would evacuate people. So there's a bunch of different, it's kind of a big chart, but based on what the chemical is, it's going to tell you, how far you should evacuate people out of here. So it says for small fires, it gives you so much, how far to protect or evacuate people. Large spills, it tells you how far away. And it also says, there's a difference between day and night. Why do you guys think there'd be a difference between day and night when you're dealing with hazardous materials and evacuating people or getting people far enough away? Does anybody want to guess on that one? Kind of a bonus question. Yes, yep, that's one of them, so you can see it, right? What would be another one? No? All right, so it's cooler at night, yes. And that would be the one of the biggest reason is with the air pressure. So during the day, well, maybe not so much today because it's so hot out and the atmosphere is so thick. But during the day, because the sun heats it up, the smoke, if there was steam coming from this book, it would basically go straight up, okay? At night, what it does is it goes up so far and it stops and it kind of goes across like this. So as it's going across the neighborhood or going across the houses like this, what it's doing is it's staying lower to the ground and it's affecting more people or more area. So that's why you would have to evacuate or protect people in a larger area at night. But like I think it was Rihanna said that you can see it as well. So it makes it easier to see that if there's vapor coming off of here and it's going straight up, then obviously just this area or a smaller area would be affected by the type of spell or whatever you're dealing with. Does that make sense? Yeah? All right. Perfect. Okay. So any questions about this? like I said, there's a video about 21 minutes. It goes over a lot more detail, more in depth about how to use this book. And I'm not going to say you'll fall asleep. I almost did, but this because I kind of know a lot about the book. But it tells you a lot of information. Along with that, Paul was able to give you guys access to a Word document that is on the website, and it's I'm sorry, Paul, what did you say that was under? Resources?
It's actually on the Ready website, but it's on the resource page. It's marked hazardous materials resources, and unfortunately I uploaded it as a PDF. I didn't send it up there as a Word.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, however they can get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys can go ahead and download that sheet. You can print it off, and then on there as well is a PDF of the ERG, or the Emergency Guide book. So you can look at the worksheet, and it'll tell you what the guide number is of a certain chemical. It'll tell you what the name is of a certain chemical, and you'll have to go through the workbook in order to get the information that's there. And then once you find out what the information is, it'll ask you what the guide number is, and then you just go to the orange section of the guide number, or the orange section of the book, and then find out there's little information that's asked is what you would do in case of a fire, what would you do in case of a medical emergency, what would you do in case of a spill. So all the information is there. I'm not surprising anybody. It's just to get you guys, and there's only 4 questions, I believe, so it's not going to take you guys very long. But we just want you to get used to how to use the guidebook. And like I said, it's a PDF. This guidebook comes in a PDF. One of the things that's fun, my kids would look up numbers as we were driving, like the Dells or whatever. And then once we got there, they'd have me look up the chemicals because I knew that I can do that on my phone. And they wanted to see what was being transported around them, which is, some of it was kind of scary. It's the stuff that we found. But this is a PDF that you can put on your phone as well. And next time you're out driving, you can tell your parents what kind of chemicals are being stored in the truck next to them, if you wanted. Mm-hmm. So, any questions about that assignment? No?
I have a question.
Yeah.
The video that you were talking about, like, I think about the emergency response book, where is it?
So the PDF that we were just talking about?
No, I think you said video.
Oh, so the video that explained, yeah, so it's a YouTube video, but the link for it is on the Ready website under the resource tab.
Oh, okay.
I'll bring it up.
Oh, perfect.
I'll share my screen. Okay, right here. And
The resources tab.
resources right here. Okay, and right here is the guidebook.
So,
Yep. So the video is right here. You can download the guidebook, all aspects of the guidebook here. And then there's a video here. And then the worksheet is here. Okay.
Awesome. So that's one of the assignments that you guys can work on. And if you have any questions, we can definitely talk about it tomorrow. Thursday. Tomorrow I work at the fire station. But I will, obviously, if there's no emergency, I will obviously be here. But you guys, tomorrow is search and rescue, and I have that presentation videoed as well. So we can definitely play that for you guys. Or you guys can watch the video before tomorrow, or tomorrow after, or tomorrow morning. We can send it out, however you want to do it. And then if I'm able to log in, I will. And then MJ, we're still going to have a Zoom meeting tomorrow?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Well, why don't we plan on this? We'll send out a link to the video tonight, so
Okay.
you all can watch the video, And then whoever is available, Tom or myself, will walk you through it tomorrow, answer questions or whatnot.
Yeah.
We can also go over the your responses to the emergency response guidebook worksheet.
Yep.
Tomorrow also.
Mhm.
Perfect.
All right. How long is the video, Tom?
The video, the search and rescue one, or the ERG one?
ERG.
That's about 21 minutes.
Okay. Should we watch it?
It's up to you. It's I don't know if everybody's gonna watch the entire video.
Uh-huh.
They're just it's a little dry. So I was just gonna use. I didn't want to scare anybody away from using the ERG book because of the video. So, but if they want to use it for a review, you know, it'd be definitely something.
Gotcha. All right.
Go on.
So let's download. Can you see the response book here? Or do I need
Yes.
to share another screen?
That's the response book. Yep.
Yep. Okay. So let's just go through and show those pages that you were.
Okay. So, like I said, if you want to look up, go to the blue section. We can see how it's in alphabetical order and look up the alcoholic beverages. All of these are what she's going through now is the beginning part of the book, basically what type of, or how the materials are being transported, different rail cars, semis, and then the different types of labeling and markings that you would find on the different trucks.
While I find the blue section, which number was it again?
It was 3065.
Okay, so here's.
So yeah, this is where. Is that I can't? Is it yeah? So actually, this is where it would be.
The yellow section.
The yellow section. I'm sorry. Blue section is if you know the name of the chemical.
Oh, okay.
So if you look up 3065 here in this yellow section, because that's the guide number.
Okay, so I will.
Or, I'm sorry, the ID number.
Go to 3065. Look at how many chemicals there are. There's tons.
Yes.
So many. All right. Ashley's joining us. Ooh. Okay, so I'm getting close. So 3065. I'm in the 30s. There we go. All right, so
Yes,
3065.
and there are a lot of chemicals there.
So 3065. So see how important it is to have a system of classifying these chemicals because there are so many that are hazardous. So,
So the first one right after the ID number, which is 3065, you go to the guide number. What is? I can't. It's on my phone, so it's really small.
127.
So 127 is the guide number. So in the orange portion of the book is where you would go to find out how, if this type of alcoholic beverages was outside of its container, what would we do to fix things, to fix it?
Okay.
It tells you, you know, how far to evacuate people. It tells you the biggest thing to worry about. Like we said, because it is alcoholic beverages, alcohol is very flammable. So the first thing listed is fire or explosion because of what the chemical is. It tells you what to do in the event of someone gets sick from it. Should be coming up pretty quick.
Okay, we're at 117, 119.
And again, these guides, the orange section is for every chemical can be traced back to one. Eventually, it gets back to the orange section. The orange section is how to take care of it. So there might be multiple numbers, that will guide you to 127. There might be multiple numbers that are multiple chemicals that guide you to, 127 or 137. So it's just how the chemical is classified, but all of them for 127 are going to be treated the exact same way. Now, again, that's on my phone, so it's so small I can't even read it, but I believe the first thing was fire.
Yep.
Yep. So, and then it tells you how to take care of it if it was on fire.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then you have the spill or leak, and then the first aid. And everyone learned about first aid the other day, the week before last, right?
Yep.
Okay. So,
and the biggest thing down there underneath, so it goes fire, health, and then protective clothing. Now, the protective clothing is gonna be different depending upon what the chemical is, because you could have something that's like, just some really bad gas that is coming from a truck that, take one breath of it, it's gonna basically kill you. So that's why the protective clothing is really important, because you got to find out, hey, this stuff is really bad. In order for me to get even close to it, I have to be completely encapsulated in something so that chemical doesn't get anywhere near my body. So, and like I said, anytime that you think that there is a hazardous material spill, it's a stop sign. It's to let you know that, hey, this stuff is pretty dangerous. We need more people to help. The biggest thing is to evacuate, get people out of the area so they don't go next to the spill. If you find some, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's what it says here. So,
yep. Even if we've had there's been a lot of firefighters that kind of walk in, that, it's a moth to the flame. They get out of the truck and they see someone laying in the middle of the road. And as they get closer, they realize the person's unresponsive. So then they run in and they find themselves standing in a puddle of something. And within, seconds, they're now another patient because they didn't take the proper precautions to find out why that person was down. When I get out of the fire truck and I see someone laying on the ground, the first thing I'm going to, think of is, well, is the trauma? Is it medical? But it can very well be because it was a hazardous material that, caused that person to go and be unresponsive on the floor, or on the ground. So we just got to take our time and find out what's going on so that we don't bring more patients to the incident. All right.
So Tom, it says on here for evacuation that you would go downwind from wherever the spill is, the hazardous material spill. So how would you know what way is downwind?
So the easiest thing to do was just take some sand or dirt, throw it up in the air, and find out which way it blows. I've done that before. It's kind of, I can ask I can get on my radio and ask the communication center if they can give me a weather update, and they'll tell me everything. But sometimes it takes 2 or 3 minutes for them to get that information. And if I've got trucks coming in, say we're at a gas leak, I don't have the time to wait for the communication center to give me an update. Sometimes I'll pick up a bunch of dirt and I'll just throw it up in the air, and I'll find out which way it blows once it leaves my hand. If it goes to the left or if it goes to the right, that's giving me my wind direction. So I have a quick indication as to which way I should be bringing these trucks in. Because if I got gas that's leaking from where I'm at, I don't want a truck to drive into the gas, because that truck can be an ignition source and cause an explosion. So that's why it's really important that you always approach things downwind from it, so that it's not you're not driving into it. I'm sorry, downwind. Yep.
Okay. And have Paul or Tom, have either of you been involved with a hazardous material incident? And could you give us like a little bit of your experience with that?
Did you have anything, Paul?
Did I have? Yeah, but you've probably had more recent ones, but certainly the most frequent hazardous materials incidents that I've responded to are hydrocarbons, fuels, diesel or gasoline, oftentimes from saddle tanks on a truck, or car accidents where you rupture a fuel tank.
Absolutely. I remember a long time ago, and this might even be before these students were born, but when we had the anthrax scare, we've had anthrax delivered in the mail to some people in Oregon that we had to go take care of. We've had the, what am I trying to say? Meth labs. We've had some of those in the outskirts of our territory that we had to go and make safe. Basically, when we get there, we call the City Madison the hazmat team. Everybody in the fire service is at like the orientation level when it comes to hazardous materials. I'm one step above that. I'm a hazmat technician. So I'm the one that would actually get suited up and go in and try to mitigate the emergency. But I can't do that on my fire department because I don't have the materials, I don't have the resources to do that. So when I'm the OIC, or the officer in charge, it's my job when I get to a hazardous material is to contact the City Madison, because they have a hazardous materials team. They can come down and analyze it right there on the side of the road with their bus that they have, and identify the chemicals that we have, and then help us mitigate or help us fix the problem so that it's not going to cause any issues with the community or the environment. Those are the two things that we are protecting. So, but yeah, it's all sorts of stuff, and it's more often than you think. Like Paul says, dealing with car accidents and stuff, radiator fluid, anything that comes out of a vehicle, basically a car accidents, we have to be careful of. It's not large quantities of hazardous materials, but still we have to keep it out of this. We have to, keep conscious of it, because if two cars crash in the village of Oregon, the thing that we have to worry about is making sure it doesn't get down into the storm drains. So we have to block that off and kind of protect the water down that it's going to go into. We have a couple of streams that we feed throughout Oregon, and the stormwater goes into those. And obviously, we don't want to pollute them with different types of chemicals. So.
Okay. And what if you're in a car accident with one of these trucks? What should you do?
Run. No, the biggest thing is to recognize. So with this training, you guys can now recognize. From the little bit of information that I gave you on this, and from what you can get out of that video, if you guys choose to watch the video, there's chemicals. Like I said, when I was sitting here, a van just drove past that has a carpet cleaning. So he obviously had enough chemicals. The weight of the chemicals is like 500 pounds or 1,000 pounds. So that's how many chemicals he had on his truck. Maybe not now, but he can have up to that many. And if you're ever in an accident with him, if you're able to get out of your vehicle, get away from the vehicles, that's the best thing to do. But even if I were to smash into that van, and again, nothing's coming out of the van, there's no vapors, there's no liquids, all the material has stayed in its container, then it's still considered to be safe. It's only when that bad stuff gets out of its containers when you really have to worry about it.
What about the trains going by? We have train tracks by our house.
Yeah, and you do hear about they have. I mean that is potentially that could be devastating. Where was that one train fire here in Wisconsin?
Waiwega.
Yeah, and we actually I think the year after that, MJ, didn't we teach a ready class in Waiwega? I remember being there. Mm-hmm. And we, but yeah, they had anytime there's a train derailment, they can have thousands upon thousands of different types of chemicals. And again, every one of those cars have to be labeled so that if they do get derailed or get in an accident, we have to know what type of chemicals in there, because you may have at one end of the train maybe hauling some type of material, at the 4 or 5 cars down might be a totally different one. And if those get outside their container and they start mixing, we got to make sure that what it's mixing and how we can fix it and make it so it's not so bad for the people or the environment in the area. But I think when that train derailed in Waiawega and it started to fire, if I remember correctly, it burned for like weeks.
I think it was like 10-day incident. Yeah.
Yeah, and they had to evacuate just about the whole city or village, the town of Waiawega. So it can cause some serious issues with hazardous materials.
One of the, I know this might not sound like a lot of fun, but if you download a copy, you can actually download the ERG. There's an app that you can download to your phone, or you can get a hard copy of it. And if you're interested in a hard copy, drop me a note and we'll mail you a hard copy of it. And if you go on a road trip, it's a lot of fun just to play this game. Instead of looking for license plate numbers from different states, but to actually take a look at the numbers on tank cars and tractors and rail cars that as you pass them by, and you can look up what's in them, and you can kind of play a game of what if that tank car was rolled over and spilling, what would you do? How far would you have to evacuate? If we're on fire, what kind of actions would you think the firefighters would have to take? So if you're on a long road trip, it actually can make it a lot of fun to have an ERG and play that game. So
Definitely. Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. So 12:30 again tomorrow, and we will see everyone then. Okay.
Perfect.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. Bye-bye.